History is the hard-fought road from ambition to victory.
Hey everybody, this is Liana Hafer bringing you the first gameplay reveal for Age of Empires 4. The footage you're seeing here is from a hands-off presentation, but I also got to talk to Relic and Microsoft and ask some questions to add a little bit more context to what we're looking at. Starting out here with one of the 4 factions we know about so far, out of the 8 that the game will be launching with, which is the Indian Delhi Sultanate. My biggest question with Age of Empires 4 was, is this going to look more like an old school Age of Empires game, or is it going to look more like a Relic game? Since it is being developed by Relic, who did Dawn of War, Homeworld, and Company of Heroes, they have sort of a different style. The answer seems to be that it is pretty much a traditional Age of Empires game, for the most part. You build a base, you collect resources, you build walls, all that classic stuff. Army size will be about 200 units in multiplayer, sometimes higher than that in the campaign, they said. Also have the Chinese civilization here. So 8 factions is, not a lot compared to some of the other Age of Empires games, but they want them to play more distinctly than the factions you might be used to, rather than just having like maybe a couple unique technologies and a unique unit or two. As you can see here, the Chinese have crossbows as well as what look like fire lances and also some rockets we're going to see in a second. So that's kind of interesting. They all kind of follow the basic rock, paper, scissors formula of, pikes beat cavalry, cavalry beat range units beat pikes, but they'll also mix it up a little bit. One of the factions that was revealed that we didn't actually get to see gameplay footage of is the Mongols, and they're going to play a lot differently in that they are a fully nomadic faction. They can actually pick up and move their buildings, including their town center, and they won't build walls. So this here is a little bit of footage from the Norman campaign, which also reveals the final of the 4 civilizations we got to hear about, which is the English. It's sort of being presented, they said, almost like a documentary, where they're actually going to use like live action drone footage of some of these battlefields. It's going to kind of follow William the Conqueror and his descendants and all of the sort of power struggles they got into down the line in establishing modern England. One of the coolest things that we learned about all of these factions is that as you progress through the ages, in addition to changing visually and what units you have access to, it's actually going to change the language that the units are speaking when you click on them and give them orders. So like in the Dark Age, English units will be speaking Old English, like Beowulf Old English, and then they'll progress to like Middle English, up to early Modern English in the Imperial Age, which is more kind of like Shakespearean. Here we can see some of that live action footage they're talking about. They're going to have narration going, not just between missions, but also while you're playing too, to kind of describe what you're doing and what your objectives are and why you have those objectives, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's very much, they said, a game made to satisfy Age of Empires fans, more so than fans of other Relic games. There are some nice little touches in here. They added the ability for units to hide in forests, and if your units are hiding in a forest and are unrevealed, they'll actually whisper when you click on them instead of using their full outside voices, so you don't quite get that same like intimacy with your units that you might in a Dawn of War game or a Company of Heroes game, but there are little touches of that kind of Relic flavor in there as well. It's almost like Age of Empires 2 Part 2 is kind of how it looks in terms of the era that's covered, and also how gameplay seems to work, which, it's playing it a little bit on the safe side, but I'm pretty excited to especially get my hands on some of the more out there factions like the Mongols, and also just see what a classic Age of Empires game looks and feels like with modern graphics, modern UI, and all of the lessons that they've learned from doing the definitive editions. They worked with World's Edge and Microsoft, to the teams that were behind those as well. So that's about all we got to see so far, but more details are to come. So for everything Age of Empires, keep it right here on IGN.